I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. On the eve of Friday practice, it's going to be a great one down at USC tomorrow. We just got word that we are going to, we're permitted to stay the entire practice. Now, unfortunately, we can't report or share anything that we watch outside of the window, the media, typical, individual and stretching portion. So it's just for observation, but it'll be great insight that we can get. And, I'm sure I'll be able to tie some things in for you guys later down the lines, or at least give my, things are looking good. Pads are popping kind of thing. So excited for tomorrow, as it's going to be a loaded day with content, obviously permitting what we're allowed to, but just wanted to share that with you that I'll be there for the entirety of practice. So it should be a good time. But on this evening, just got more word on all of the visitors who will be here this weekend. I know last night I kind of did a super quick brief one, but now got a list of I don't know, didn't add them up ahead of time, but 12 names or so. So a loaded list of visitors this weekend. So I'll rifle through those rather quickly, mostly 27 prospects, but a few 28 as well. And I'm sure there will be some surprise visitors as well. So anyone that I see on campus, I'll certainly share with you guys and let you know. But before we get into that, a quick little update on Danny Lang. We'll keep it quick because I know we talked a ton about him. Nothing real new on Honor Olave Johnson, but we'll just give a quick recap on where that's tying down to, and then we'll get into the visitor list. As always, USC LAFB brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Make sure to check out the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, Jade Mayava plus 2,700 to win the Heisman. Insane odds. He's way too low down the list. That's what that means. He is the 12th best odds to win the Heisman. I think he should be in the top 5. So take those odds now while the turnout, or while the payout is fantastic. So FanDuel Sportsbook, check that out. All right, first, quickly, Honor Olave Johnson, number 1 safety in the 27 class, number 1 athlete, number 1 player in the state of California, is announcing his commitment on Saturday. The ramp up in him announcing, there's a lot of perception from all of the experts and from me, from what I've heard and what I believe, that signals that he will be committing to USC. Nothing's for sure. It's coming down to Oregon, Notre Dame, a bunch of other big name schools. But I believe it will ultimately be USC. And there has been chatter that he could be a guest this weekend, potentially tomorrow. Now, he's not on the official list that I have, so it would be probably a surprise visit, but there was chatter that could happen. Obviously, if that did happen, that would be a pretty telltale sign of what he is going to do on Saturday. Maybe that's why he is not going to ultimately show up, to at least have a little bit element of surprise. But barring anything crazy or any Hail Mary NIL push from outside, I believe it will ultimately be USC that Honor Olave Johnson puts on his head on Saturday. So that's the latest with him. Would be huge. We'll talk about that Saturday if it does end up coming to fruition. Danny Lang, he was on campus 3 times last week. Well, then last night, he ends up going back to campus in the evening to meet with Coach Lincoln Riley. And then, first reported by Scott Schrader over at WeRSC, my guy, they basically opened the LA Coliseum, the stadium, and, we saw photos of Trevon Reed from his Instagram with Danny Lang there. Coach Dog was at the Collie. I mean, I'm sure most of the coaching staff, including the personnel department in terms of Chad Bowden and his staff, were there. So not sure exactly all that went down, but certainly sparing no expense, pulling out all the stops for Danny Lang, taking him to the Collie on the evening of Wednesday to basically say, let's get this thing done. Let's just lock it in, commit, and let's move on. He has since then officially announced that he will be announcing his commitment next weekend, a week from Saturday, so one direct week after Fa'alave Johnson on March 21st. Remember, he was originally going to commit on July 2nd, now March 21st. That is a massive move up, which basically signals what has been going on. And again, barring some Hail Mary from Oregon, this feels like USC. This feels like the reason for that moving up. And 4 now visits to USC in a week. You know, the writing's kind of on the wall there. Now his final 3 is USC, Oregon, and Auburn. Auburn may be just a formality in there. It's definitely a USC-Oregon race. Now, if something happens next week and he ends up taking a last-minute visit to Oregon, that could certainly at least make USC sweat and could potentially shift things. But as of now, Thursday night, a week and 2 days ahead of when he is going to commit, I feel very good about where USC sits. And you got to credit Lincoln Riley, Chad Bowden, everyone for this all-out blitz that they, put on Danny Legg and shown the priority that he is to this staff to really be one of the headliners in this 2027 class. And, I mean, they went all out. And, getting him on campus 4 times when he basically had no spring visits planned. Wasn't planning to come to USC. USC said, yeah, we're changing that. So, USC recruiting, if they are able to, let's just say on March 22nd, their recruiting class is up to 6. Remember, we have 4 commits already. If on March 22nd they're up to 6 and they added both Fa'alave Johnson and Danny Lang, 2 of the top California players and 2 of the top just players in the nation, USC recruiting was already back. They proved that in 26 with the number 1 class. But now they're just basically imposing their will and doing what they want. That maybe sounds cocky, but since I've been really covering recruiting and really, well, I've been covering it for a while, but since I've really dove in on the channel kind of last cycle, we've really seen them basically who they want and who they put the all-out effort for, they get. If it's like they're feeling like some resistance or back and forth, they themselves kind of back off and say, okay, where we stand, but we'll let you go elsewhere. But if they go pedal to the metal, like they did with Wafel, like they did with Tom, like they did with Mark Bowman, like they're doing with Danny Lang and Honor Fa'alave Johnson, like they basically won all those battles. So speaking of battles now, the visitors who will be there, again, this will be a lot of names, so bear with me. Trying to give you as much information as possible, so I'll try not to go too fast where it sounds like gibberish, but I don't want to bore you just like reading my memorandum here of notes. So visiting this weekend, no particular exact days. Most will be tomorrow because tomorrow is the spring, their practice, and we'll see there'll be a bunch on Saturday as well over the weekend. So, and we may see a bunch tomorrow, which I'm excited about. So defensive end, Mekhi Brown, he actually announced on his Twitter just yesterday that he was coming. 4-star, he's the 7th ranked edge in the class, 6'6", 235, and he is from the state of Connecticut. So a top 10 edge prospect here. Linebacker, Isaac McNeil, 4-star. He is the 6th ranked linebacker in the class out of Alabama, 6'3", 210. So that's what, Rivals has him listed as. We'll see if his weight's a little more than that. But a little lighter than kind of what now this profile linebacker USC is looking for. But, top 6 backer in the class, still worth having. Both Eli Woodard and Aaron Washington, who are already committed in this class, will be there. Always good to get commits back on campus. Obviously, you want to keep them engaged, keep them excited, keep them committed, but it also helps to get them around future commits or current recruits, because we saw how well that worked with the 26 class. Getting guys like Brandon Lockhart, always around guys, prospects of like, hey, you got to come. That Luke Wafel visit I talked about all the time, there were 9 players on his official visit. 8 of them were already committed. He was the only non-commit on that official visit. Like, that's a good thing. So Woodard and Washington will be back on campus. Tight end Tommy Douglas. He's a 3-star, 6'4", 225, so great size. He is the 28th ranked tight end. He goes to Hun Academy in Jersey, Luke Wafels High School. So a little bit connection there, a little bit, might know each other there. I still believe Tommy Douglas. I still believe Charles Davis is the front-runner tight end in this class for USC, but obviously you want to keep those nets wide, so Tommy Douglas will be one on campus. Defensive tackle Malik Lee, 4-star prospect, 6'3", 270. He's the 32nd ranked defensive lineman in the class, and he's out of the state of Florida. In-state linebacker Josiah Poyer, 3-star, 6'1", 225, so great size, and he goes to St. John Bosco. He's the 54th ranked linebacker, so a little bit lower than maybe some would like to see, but local kid, Bosco, we'll see how he progresses this final season. He'll be on campus. And then you get tight end Talon Scott, 3-star, 6'4", 220, 46th ranked tight end. He is out of the state of Arizona. And then going down my list here, safety, Gavin Williams. This is one to watch for. Obviously, we know we've talked about him a ton. 4-star, 12th ranked safety. For a while, it felt like the two safeties were going to be Fa'alave Johnson and Williams. It felt like that was a foregone conclusion. Not saying USC has cooled necessarily, not saying Williams has cooled on USC, but some other schools have probably positioned themselves a little more with Gavin Williams. So great to get him back on campus, get him re-engaged, and we'll see where USC ultimately sits with him after this weekend. We'll do a check-in on that and see where they sit, and see if they've regained or if they've both kind of started veering different directions, but he will be there and will great to check in. Drew Fielder, Oregon commit, offensive lineman, goes to Servite. He's back a week later, coming back. Obviously, it helps when you're local, live in state. He's the 14th ranked tackle, 6'6", 270. Obviously, Oregon commit. There's been reports that guys in his class have been reaching out like, hey, remember why you committed to Oregon in the first place. So I still think his commitment is fairly strong with Oregon, but USC has a great shot to flip him. Anytime you're the local school, and remember, they didn't offer him till after he was already committed to Oregon. So it'd be a little different if he already had the offer, was kind of feeling out and then committed. USC had never offered yet. So after he committed, he gets the offer and it's like, oh, maybe this changes things. His grandfather, I want to say his uncle or great uncle as well, played at USC, so a bit of a legacy. So Fielder back on campus. Watch out for that. And finally, from 2027, quarterback Dane Weber, 4 stars, a 29th ranked quarterback in the class, 6 foot, 215 out of Chaparral, teammates with Eli Woodard. USC has not offered him yet, so he does not have an offer, but he is visiting. And remember, the only other quarterback to have an offer from Lincoln Riley and USC is Peyton Houston, who is committed to LSU. So if USC ultimately offers Weber, I don't see him committing elsewhere. I think Cal and UCLA and Stanford, those are all very high. But if USC comes in an offer, your quarterback, it's hard to beat that with Lincoln Riley. The question is, will USC offer? Will USC even take a quarterback in the 2027 class? As I've said, I don't think they should. They're not listening to me. And if they do take one, I think Weber is a good one to take because he's not going to command top 5 NIL dollars. He is more of a developmental quarterback that needs a little bit more time. He's not one of those 5-star guys that's going to come in and, obviously every guy wants to start. They believe in themselves, but he's not going to command that as a 5-star making $1.2 million. He can be a 4-star developmental piece, sit 2 or 3, or not 3, but sit 2 years or so behind Jonas Williams. So if they were to go get one in this class, I think Weber's a really good fit, and he's a local kid. And then from the 28 class now, 2 guys, safety Jordan Hicks, 3-star out of Mission Viejo, and 4-star second-ranked interior offensive lineman Elisha Mueller out of St. John Bosco, 6'4", 280. Man, these kids' size as sophomores in high school is just incredible. Incredible. I always see these kids. I'm on a college campus seeing these guys and I'm talking to them and I'm like, I forget this kid's 18, 19. It doesn't seem like that because grown ass men with full beards. And I'm like, this kid's 19 years old. What's going on here? So there's your list. I'll be on campus tomorrow. Plenty of stuff coming at you all weekend long. We'll have tons of content up at USC LAFB here tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out, but also helps you get notified always when I push a video live. Plus, all of our stuff can be found on LAFBnetwork.com over on our message board. Put all the information up there, easy to digest. It's free to join, so check that out. And you can follow me on X at Ryan Dyrud LAFB if you are on that platform as well. So that'll do it for tonight's recruiting update. See you guys all tomorrow. Be blessed. See you soon. As always, fight on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.